Welcome to the first episode of Science Fridays. I'm Nikos Mouchtaris, and today we're going to start a hopefully long and healthy radio series with the topic of science at a high school level around. For those in the audience wondering why I wanted to use a radio show to talk about science, rather than a medium with some visual component like a video, I will share a little anecdote. So I was discussing with one of my friends about the project and the possible mediums that I could use to properly get my message across. And he said, "Nikos, you have a face made for radio." And well, here we are. So let's get into our topic for today. I wanted to start off our premiere show with the topic of primates, specifically chimpanzees, and how they are more similar to humans than we may be willing to admit. To give a brief overview of his work and explain how his work could be interesting to high schoolers like you, I will be introducing Dr. Famis. All right, are you there?
Yes, Nikos. Thanks for having me on.
The pleasure is all mine. So can you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your work?
Of course. I'm Dr. Alexandrius Famis. I have 3 doctorates, all from the University of Michigan, and have devoted the last 20 years of my life trying to better understand chimpanzees. So the study I conducted has to do with how chimpanzees are more likely to reconcile when a relationship is valuable for them. Specifically, when an individual is higher in the dominance hierarchy, and I try to correlate this to humans, with the hopes of showing similar behavior.
Okay, great. I didn't understand a single word you said. Would you mind toning down the language a bit so all of our viewers can, or listeners can hear?
Sure. Basically, what I tried to do is show that in the kind of human world, playing nice is important to make friends. An idea I like is that in these people, is that they use playing nice to get higher in their world. Another idea I like is to use this approach on real people and see what happens.
Fantastic. So can you tell us a bit about your field work and whether you were able to get some evidence for your hypothesis?
Of course. So basically, what I tried to do is use Twitter to see when people were reconciling, and to see if the person who was trying to make up with the other person has more or less followers.
Awesome. So can you describe why you chose Twitter, of all places, to do a study about reconciling?
So the motivation behind using Twitter was because the followers count gives a great analog to a dominance hierarchy, and it is not hard to search Twitter for tweets where someone is saying they're sorry.
So were you able to gather some good data?
Yes. So we actually ended up with a pretty positive data. Although there were a decent amount of times where someone was reconciling with another person with a similar amount of followers, there were an overwhelming amount of cases that were in favor of my hypothesis.
So what do you think this positive data means in a broad sense?
Well, first, I think that it gives a rather interesting insight into how human society works. The fact that humans focus so much on moving up the social ladder doesn't really paint our species in the best light. In a broad sense, however, I think it shows how human society isn't really that different from that of chimpanzees. Both seems to have an element of it being an all-out brawl to be on top. So it is interesting to think about what this means for the idea of human uniqueness.
Wow, that sounds like it could have an immense impact on the field. Sounds like whoever did this research was super smart.
But I did.
Okay, thanks a lot, Doctor, for being on. So if you're a high schooler, feel free to call in and weigh on the doctor's research. Okay, thank God. Can you introduce yourself to all of the viewers?
Hi, I'm Razor Najifi, and I'm a junior in high school here in Michigan.
Great. Do you want to comment at all on Dr. Famis' study?
Of course. So I was honestly surprised by how interesting I found his research. I'm actually interested in biology, and I'm considering studying it in college. So seeing how research can have an actual impact was pretty cool.
I'm glad to hear it. Do you think the role that dominance plays in relationships between chimpanzees is similar in relationships that you see in high school?
Now that I think about it like that, I definitely see that people are more likely to be nice to the cooler kids.
Interesting. So do you think this is evidence that humans and chimpanzees are relatively similar?
When you put it like that, I guess you could say that, yeah, humans and chimps are pretty similar when you're talking about the dominance hierarchy.
Thanks a lot, Razor. What a perfect guest. Now, if I could have another caller, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Billy, and I'm 37. Thanks for...
Okay then, alright. But would you look at the time? Looks like we're right at the end of our scheduled programming. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and I hope you learned a bit about the study of primates and how it has actual applications in real life.